Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
John Esterly with Rare Buzz Effects.
John didn't know what to do because usually we have Jared chiming in there, and Jared is unable to join this morning, and Billy is out. Anyways, you have us goobers here today. Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd, Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death that you're listening to our show yet again, or maybe even for the first time. That's even funner. Funner? More fun? One of those things. Funnest. Lo. And
behold.
Thank you, Tony.
Sorry, a little slow on the uptake.
Lightning Jones over there. We have a very special guest today. Guest, who are you?
My name is Dr. No.
Ooh. Yes. We're really excited to have Dr. No on for a return episode. You've heard us talk about the first episode that we had with him in various ways, one of which was that holds the record for the most edits we've ever had to do in a podcast. Not having anything to do with the doctor, we were just both on absolutely dreadful connections. And it was. Do you recall? I think I told you this at one point. There were 1,300 segments.
Whoa!
Yeah, that's dedication, baby.
Yes.
Once I got about halfway, I'm like, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. I might as well finish this thing.
Wow,
It was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, man, it was. And now I hope it sounds better now,
Oh,
right?
yeah, you sound crystal clear. This is fantastic.
Okay, good.
Yes. So this should be a lot of fun. It's been several years since we have last talked to you.
Yes.
Lots has happened. Lots has happened. My English is great today. I think that's how you say that. So
it's early. We'll
I'm not sure how you say that in
a break.
Mandarin. Onward and upward, everybody. We have a quick announcement this morning. I want to throw this over to John Esterly.
Yes, so we wanted to formally invite all of the Guitar Knobs friends that happen to live in the central Ohio or greater Ohio area. We are going to have a Pedals and Pints activity on May the 24th, which is a Wednesday from 5 to 8. Our friends at Combustion Brewing in Clintonville are hosting, and there will be 7 pedal builders from across the central Ohio area there to show off their wares. So you'll have an opportunity to try out pedals and other gear, and we'd just love to see you there. So May 24th, 5 to 8, Combustion Brewing, Clintonville. Come see us.
Nice.
And for what it's worth, there's quite a few more in Ohio that are building things. We're just, I think, we're somewhat limited on the space. And this being the first one, you got to see how this goes, right?
Exactly. This is something that, a group of us have put together. If it's something that turns out great, then, as Todd said, we're going to invite some of the other builders in the Ohio area to come down the next time.
Yeah.
Nice.
And who knows? Maybe this...
So this is only focused on guitar pedals?
Correct.
Oh,
Now,
wow,
we
cool.
have made some invitations.
Would you like to come?
Yes, I would love to come, of course. Yeah, it sounds great.
But we're hoping to have, we've reached out to Chase to see if he can provide some guitars that we can use in the demo setup. I don't know if that's going to happen, but...
You can borrow some of mine.
Yeah, Tony overfloweth. It's this first one is going to focus pretty well specifically on pedal builders.
Nice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, wow.
Very cool. So, anyways, that's coming up, and we look forward to that. So, onward and upward, gentlemen.
Yes.
The lovely, the hairy Tanya Bolonsky.
Harry is true.
What's going on in your music
Lovely.
world this week?
Lovely,
Then we're going to
not
check
so
in with
much.
the great doctor.
In between reading guitar books and looking at guitar news on the internets, I ran across an interesting posting, I guess, article. What do you call something like that that's posted on the internet? Content. I ran across some interesting content.
There you go.
And it is the 11 most expensive guitars of all time so far.
Okay.
I'll put so far in.
You're not going to go through all 11, are you?
Well, I'm just going to mention them quickly.
So,
Is that
yes.
okay?
That's-
So yes.
Yeah.
So the answer is yeah. I mean, unless you tell me, oh, you can only do the top 5.
No.
I think it's interesting.
Let's go.
Okay,
11.
so
Why not
What makes
10?
them expensive?
the one
Is-
their sale prices. So
Okay,
these
yeah.
are generally celebrity-owned guitars.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
What they've most recently sold for. So the number 11 it goes to Dwayne Allman's 1957 Gibson Les Paul. It sold for over 1.25 million.
What?
Yes. Number 10, David Gilmour's 1954 Fender Stratocaster.
Okay, I can buy it. I can get it.
You can get that?
I
Okay.
understand that.
Number 9 is Jerry Garcia's Wolf guitar. There's that one.
Yeah.
Number 7, Peter Green's Greenie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know about that one. Number 7, Jimi Hendrix 1968 Fender Stratocaster. Okay.
It's a
Oh.
strat.
Yeah, it is a Strat. That one's especially. I'll buy that one for you, Todd. How's that sound? Number 6 is John Lennon's Gibson J160E electric acoustic. I'd buy that one. I'd
Yeah.
buy that for $1.
I think that there's 2 of these on this list, isn't there?
There might be.
Pretty sure.
Reach Out. Number 5 is Reach Out to Asia Fender Stratocaster. Now, this is another Strat for Todd that was signed by everybody. I mean, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Eric Clapton, Brian May, lots of people. That one fetched $2.7 million.
Sakes.
Number 4, Eddie Van Halen's Hot for Teacher Kramer. This is the...
Really?
How is that number 4?
Well,
Really?
it sold for $3.932 million. This is where it just gets ridiculous, doesn't it? Number 3, David Gilmour's...
I can understand that one.
David Gilmour's Black Strat. That one sold for $3.975 mil.
It's a black Strat. I mean,
Todd's going to love
come
this
on.
one. Number 2 is Kurt Cobain's Fender Mustang.
God,
4.5 mil.
I don't get it.
And number 1,
No, I already know what it is.
What is
it's
it?
Kurt Cobain's.
MTV
Yeah,
Unplugged
Jay.
guitar.
It's a Martin, no?
Over $6 million.
And I know who bought that.
Yes.
That's the owner from Road.
Oh.
So I just found that interesting. I mean, these are so far out
Except
of...
for the Van Halen one, all that stuff was rubbish.
Really? Really?
Agree to disagree.
I mean,
What this tells me is there's a lot of people that have too much money and too much time on their hands.
here's the reason why. I'm just gonna throw this out there, and
Throw it out.
and it's just a point for argument. I'm mugging for the camera a little bit here, but
Where's the camera?
honestly, if you took a picture of each one of those and you put them in a line, there's one that you would recognize.
Yes.
One. That's it.
Yeah.
Which one would that be?
Van
True.
Halen's Kramer.
Yeah.
That's it. And so just based on if you're buying it for like you have some deep connection to this distraught human who made up a couple songs or whatever,
Oh my God.
oh
my God.
or you're just like I mean, you walk into a room and you see that, it's like, man, that thing's gonna be under it's gonna be under its own light, it's gonna be under its own glass, and instantly everything you know about that's gonna flood right back at you, and you're gonna see him on the table, walking down the table, right in front of the camera, doing the bit with the man. That's the business.
But what are you going to do with it? Are you going to case it like in a glass cage, or are you going to play it, or?
And that's I was just going to mention that. I mean, the problem with the people that are forking over this kind of money is they generally are never going to. It's going to be on
it's
display.
an investment. Yeah.
And
Right.
it-
And
an
all
investment,
the
yeah.
more reason. If that's all you're going to do, now let's go to the shallow town, okay? Look, if you're going to spend the money to have something that says, like, look at this, and it really doesn't look like much, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, and I know you're a little bit older, but for those of us that are younger and can appreciate Nirvana, I would argue that.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I was what?
But I would argue that
I was sitting on the curb waiting to meet Soundgarden to go play with Pearl Jam in Hollywood, and at the same time, Nirvana still didn't even have their pants on yet.
But the Mustang, I think, for folks of my age, is the one that's immediately recognizable. That's the guitar that changed the world.
Well, that's a pretty big statement. But anyways.
Well, anyhow, that's
It's
when I see
agree to disagree.
When I see lists like this, it always just strikes me as I'm dumbstruck sometimes as to what people are willing to pay for things like this, and to basically make them museum pieces. There's a Wilco book, one of the it's just kind of it's a weird book, but it's kind of cool. But one of the photos is of a guitar, and it's the quote is, "If you don't play a guitar, it starts to think it's a piece of furniture."
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Just for fun, so we can get out of this tailspin of nonsense and disagreement.
I had this weird Nigel moment with a guy that I know. He was a lawyer, and he bought this really old L Strat for an insane amount of money, and he put it in a glass cage. He didn't even play.
Yeah,
and he was like, Are you going to play it? Can I at least touch it, or can you get it out of the glass case? He was no, it's too valuable to play. I was like, what?
Don't even look at
it.
Yeah, exactly that. It was that kind of moment. Like, can I touch it? No. Can you look at it? No, you can't look at it. It was really weird.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Well, hang on a second.
No.
Let's for argumentation's sake, if you were going to spend your gobstopping
sold your soul
amount of money. You had a windfall. You won the lottery, okay? And money was no object.
No object.
And it doesn't matter where or who has this guitar right now.
Okay.
What would that guitar be? All right. Let's ask the doctor will give you a moment. I think John probably has I'm trying to read his face, and I think he's got it.
I'm going to start by saying I'm sorry that Jared isn't here, because that list of 11 guitars, I heard a lot of Fenders, but not many Gibsons.
There were a couple.
But I heard a lot of Fenders in there. I would agree with the top two. I would say for me,
Tony,
the music that I grew up with, people of my generation and not.
All right, you got to pick one.
I'd say the Mustang.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, all right. Good for you. Tony.
Well, mine wasn't even on the list, but it would be John Lennon's 58 Rickenbacker 325. That was the guitar he bought in Hamburg, Germany, and played it through the very early years up until 1963, when Rickenbacker gave him another 325 in black. So that would be it. It started off life as a maple glow or blonde guitar. It was painted black, and now, as it exists I think it's in the John Lennon Museum in Japan, it's back to its original color.
Nice. Dr. No?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. The Grand Funk Railroad used this interesting guitar. I can remember the guitar. It was a semi-acoustic, something with fretless or something, and it got a built-in fuzz in it. And I always thought that's a really unique guitar. And
whose guitar was this?
From the Grand Funk Railroad. Was the guy, and he got this really signature sound, and I even tried to find out what kind of fuzz he was using in that guitar. I never found it, but he got a really unique sound, and I was really interested in buying one of those guitars. There were a couple. They are not popular. They're really underrated. But I thought that would be an interesting guitar to own and play.
That reminds me of Daimel guitars. They've been doing a lot with the onboard electronics, especially as of late. And his stuff is just really, really cool stuff with all the art on it and everything, man.
Yeah. And also the other one, if I can mention two,
Yes.
the other one was Chris Whitley's national guitar that he always played. It is also a really unique thing. He played really heavy stuff on a national resonator. I think it was I'm not sure it was a tricone or a single cone. I think it was a single cone. But he got this really nice sounds, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with Chris Whitley, but he's an insane guitar player who never learned to play guitar like the traditional way, and he got some really, really unique sounds out of his national resonator guitar. I also would like to have that one if I had the chance.
Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting is we were just talking about. So we at NAMM we ran into a semi-local builder, a state away, Mule Guitars, and he's making resonators, maybe non-traditional resonators. So putting resonators in thin line, like semi-hollow body guitars and stuff.
Okay.
We were just talking about like that makes me want to say, ooh, plug that into some kind of a drive, like an overdrive or something. And man, what an amazing sound could come out of that. Because most people just think of the resonator as like you sit on the porch with your sweet tea and,
exactly.
play the slide.
No. I love when people don't know how to use their instrument and just figure it out themselves.
Yeah.
There's some really interesting stuff coming out and creative stuff, and that's what I always. And he's one of those pioneers who doesn't know what he was doing, but he was doing it really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I've been ping ponging back and forth.
Yeah.
My go-to, the first thing I thought of, and then I started to try to rationalize a little bit, but it would be Joe Strummer's number one.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
My number one
Yeah.
Telecaster.
I could co-sign that.
100%. I mean, all that, and then I have like
Good
two
choice,
tattoos kind of dedicated to that. So
Really?
I have to go with that.
Oh wow.
Anyways, and actually have seen not the number one, but it was his sort of number two, and it got like, I mean, mega goosebumps. You just when you can look at an inanimate object and feel completely emotional. That's pretty cool. That's a rare thing, I think. Tony, you probably got that looking at like Lennon's glasses at Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Anyways, well, thanks, Tony. That was really great. Well, that's it, everybody. That was the show.
But basically, you basically want to buy the magic now. It's not about the piece of wood. It's about the magic.
Yeah.
And that's what you would like to own.
Exactly. And one thing that was interesting about his guitars, he'd put his like set lists in almost like receipt tape writing on the upper.
His
guitar.
his 63 325 still has it taped onto it.
Yeah, and so does the Telecaster.
Yeah.
Oh, Strummer?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Anyhow, so onward and upward, we're going to check in with Doctor and find out what's going on in his music world this week. We're going to get into the pedal building, so don't give it all away.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. I'm working on several projects. Some are pedal they are all actually pedal related, but not necessarily with my job. At the moment, I'm working on a pedal board for a friend of mine who you also had in your podcast, Alan Johannes. He's coming on tour, and I arrange his tours in Europe. That's another thing that I do. And that came about when I was moving his studio in Hollywood, 11 AD, to his sister's place because he wanted to change. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm ready to play music again." So I was like, "Yeah, maybe I can help with Europe, or maybe I can do something." I have some really good relations in the Netherlands from my previous life, and But he's coming on tour in September, and we need to do some rehearsals next month when he comes over. And I'm making him a pedal board. So that's what's going on. And the other thing is going on. What's going on is I also do some. It basically is a motivational speech for younger children who study at music schools in France.
Oh, wow.
And it's not necessarily about pedals, but it's basically to motivate children to find their own inspiration to build their own life and create their own work. Not necessarily working for the boss, but find ways to discover what you like to do in life. And
I like it.
it's a motivational speech that I do at schools here, at music schools.
Are you going to wear the headgear?
What's that?
Are you going to wear the headgear and the whole outfit?
Yes, in the beginning I do. And,
That's awesome.
Yeah, in the beginning do, but it's like I can't really breathe.
Yeah, so you're going to do like a dead mouse thing and take it off halfway.
Yes, in the beginning I do that, and just for the
Interesting. Very cool.
And then I have a translator because my French is not really good, so I have a translator who translate everything to the people who don't understand English, and it's a speech of 2 hours, 3 hours, and that's also what I'm working on. And
Wow.
the other thing I'm working on is that I want to see what's possible with what's the next thing. You're always busy with what's the next thing regarding my work, and
Right.
now I'm working with 2 violin players. So I really want to discover the
Like angry, like violent.
Violin.
No,
Violin.
Violin.
No,
Okay.
violin now. Classical plays, but not in a traditional way. One of them is Warren Ellis. He's the violin player of Nick Cave, and one of them is Italian violin player who also plays in a I think it's a pretty big band in Italy. And we are trying to discover what we can do with fuzzes, with wah-wahs, with other kinds of effects to use them on violin, because it's a really traditional. It's almost like when you present a guitar effect or a manipulation effect for classical instruments. It's almost like cursing in church, you know.
Sure.
because it's and it's also one of my favorite hobbies to kick holy houses and see what's possible.
That is such a great phrase. That is a really, really great phrase. I like that. That's cool.
What's what?
I mean, that could be a great pedal, holy houses. You know, like, I mean,
Yeah, it's like I like to. We discussed it in the previous conversation as well. I like
Yeah.
to provoke. Yeah, so provocation leads to creation, I think.
yeah,
So basically,
or incarceration. One of the.
Yes, happened before. But yeah, but that's what I'm trying to do now. So I would like. I always want to feel the excitement of creating, and also what's possible, and if it's possible, even in a realm that's not touched yet, or not really touched yet. So that's what I'm working on. That's what's going on in my world.
I think you just summed up one of the if not the key factor for the pedals you're known for is that it invokes excitement. Every single
Yeah.
thing that you put out
I
invokes
hope
excitement.
so. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, that's one of my main goals, because you all know that there's so much going on in instrument world that it's not. I never look at what's going on, and I basically never look at what other people do, because it distracts me.
Yeah.
And so I would like to keep it in my own space, in my own bubble, and see what's possible, what's exciting, you know.
Yeah.
What stimulates provocation, and what stimulates creation, and that's always my next thing to move on. If it's in the beginning it was visual, then it becomes concept, then it becomes an artist, then it becomes another another plays like violin, classical instruments. How can you manipulate that? And I know that it's a really conservative music world. They only want to touch the natural. How do you say it? The natural. What do you call it?
It's like the analog nature of
No,
this.
yeah, they just learn to play violin or cello or whatever in an acoustic way, and
Yeah.
and not amplifying or in a I can't come up with a word, but it's and that's what I like to touch, and I tried it, but it's basically it's really like cursing in church. You can't do this. It's just like so conservative.
Yeah.
But guys like Warren Ellis and Rodrigo D'Erasmo is the other guy. They are really trying to also kick the holy houses. And I'm not sure if you know Warren Ellis, but he's like raping the violin. He's provoking to almost demolish the violin in a very unorthodox way, and that's
Right.
really really inspiring. And that's what I would like to work with people that want to create excitement and danger even.
Yeah. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I like that. That's very inspiring. John?
So this week, I put the finishing touches on a guitar that some of you may be familiar with. I call it Kitty Paw. It is an Esquire style guitar, so single pickup in the bridge. Our friend,
Telecaster body?
well, it's a Telecaster style body,
Yeah, yeah.
but with the single pickup, no bridge
Right.
pickup. So our friend Gary at Partscaster did the body for me. It's actually chambered, and the body has a natural knot where you would normally see an F-hole in a chambered body. So that knot actually acts as the chamber. And then Tony did a kind of a half pick guard. I did it more as the Esquire prototype aesthetic, but got the finishing touches on it, put it together. It sounds great. So
Yeah, it's like a Cabernita, excuse me, style pick guard.
Yes.
So it's like the lower half covers the horn.
Get the cheese out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fromage.
You know what's
Because you're able.
yeah. So when I first started, just a quick thing, you mentioned the fromage. When I first started to learn a bit of French to go over, because I studied there in art school in Aix in Provence.
Oh,
And,
wow. Okay, cool.
when I started trying to learn French, right? And I didn't know that the rest of everybody I was going with wasn't even bothering to learn.
So you became the
I
translator.
did. I was the on-street guy. They're like, "Do you know French?" I'm like, "I don't know French," but I got us around. But what was interesting is two of the first words. One of the first words I learned, and the first phrase I learned, fromage.
Yes.
Right now we say fromage, but you're supposed to go like fromage, right? It's the
And you don't even pronounce the GE
Yeah,
at the end.
right.
Fromage.
yeah, and then the first phrase, and it baffled me. It drove me nuts. I'm like, why am I learning this phrase? What is the problem over there that they need me to understand this phrase? And it was fermer la fenêtre. Now, doctor, what does that translate to?
Fermez-le.
Yep,
Fermez-le what?
le fenêtre.
Prunette. Oh, je ne sais pas, man.
So it's close the window,
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
or is it open the window?
Fermez le porte.
the
Yeah,
fenêtre.
okay.
Fermer le fenêtre. Yeah. So it was the fenêtre, Anyways, if you just go fermer le fenêtre, that doesn't work, right?
Yeah, not at all.
and the whole thing was it was trying to train my mouth muscles and flaps to do different things that I'm used to.
Yeah.
But it drove me mad. I'm like, show me. I need to know how to get a taxi, not like deal with the window.
Nice.
Anyway,
So when I was in Paris, and at night, a lot of times in doorways, they'll set up a little crêperie.
What now?
a bathroom.
Crêperie.
Et crêperie.
Crêperie. And so the phrase that I learned most was un Nutella crepe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nutella crepe.
So I got good at ordering Nutella
Pancake with
crepes.
chocolate.
That is, yes. I like the bathroom myself. I think that's a better way to do that.
Maybe that's a nickname for
Yes.
a bathroom in France.
Anyhow, all right. Thank you, Monsieur, for that little bit of
There we
stuff.
Todd?
Well, we are in writing mode in my band right now. We're about to release 4 singles, and we're going to kind of do them over the next, one a month kind of thing. And because that's what Spotify encourages you to do, so we got to kind of roll with that a little bit. So we're in writing mode, and as I've been talking about that the gold Hagstrom that I got, I've got like a whole pile of new songs out of it, just that thing.
What have
Just
you?
that one guitar.
What have you nicknamed that guitar now?
I'm still toggling. It's either going to be Midas because everything it touches is turned into gold. Yeah. Right. But I also still really love Jerry.
Jerry. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's gold, Jerry. Gold. So one of those two. It's gonna. I still haven't figured it out yet. The name will come to me in my sleep. So, anyways, in doing that, what's really neat is that we're seeing our sound evolve a little bit, and I've always been inspired by bands that have been able to do that, like the Clash and like X, where they've started and they've kept one hand on their root, on their like the pole that they started on, and then been able to like pick up other sounds that help broaden what they're able to do. And in doing so, I've been paying close attention to a lot of not even other bands that I've liked, but like I'm just like dipping into like I have been listening to a lot of Black Angels lately. And like Black Angels Radio, and that's sort of like a dark, almost like it's like kind of slightly heavier psychedelic kind of stuff. Not because we're going to make that kind of music, but I'm looking for different things in drums and in like phrasing and where they're putting specific signatures and accents on certain things, because the kind of music we're starting to create is we're branching out. We're getting a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more open to new influences and stuff.
Did you learn a 4th chord?
Oh, that's me. That's.
But Todd,
that's
are
me.
you still developing a style, or are you still searching for identity? Or
No, and that's the cool thing is like we have that in spades. It's how do we? I don't want to be stuck there, and fortunately, I'm not the actual music that I've been writing so far. It's naturally evolving. I don't feel like I'm having to like mentally try to get myself out of the box. It's already getting out of the box and it's already pushing, but I need to figure out what goes with it, because you can't just drag all the same phrasing and instrumentation along and expect it's going to meet it. It just won't. It'll be anchored back where it started, and I want to evolve that. So it's been kind of a fun little journey.
Are you finding that you're interpreting your old music in a different way?
No,
Or
no, it's
this
just naturally
is just
evolving.
kind of additive to
Yeah.
you've got new stuff and
We're more sure who we are. Like where this whole thing started, it was like I had a vision and we totally nailed that thing. But the tendencies that we've started to push on, I'm like, let's follow that. Little bits that we've started to incorporate in other songs. We're like, hey, let's push on that wall a little bit. So let's see how far we go without it becoming something totally different. That's not the point.
right.
So yeah, I mean, think of most of your favorite bands have been able to do that successfully. I mean, Queen's even has been fantastic at doing that. And you got Beatles, Stones, like all the you have to evolve. But you still got to know who you are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But a lot of you also develop an audience, and in the beginning, when you do things the same way, it's like you create a certain act or a certain
Yeah.
style. People get used to it, and they expect you to do another thing,
Yes.
which is almost the same, like Sting.
Yeah.
And for example, but if you from the beginning, when you evolve and do whatever you like, that's a really good way to go, and it attracts a certain audience, right? And
Yeah.
and you want to connect with the audience, so it's really important that you find your style that connects with your audience and not doing the same thing always. A good example for me is Motorcycle. I don't know if you know that band. I think it's a Scandinavian band, but it's a really interesting band. They never make the same record again, so you never know what to expect. They produce like crazy. I think they almost do like two or three, even three records a year sometimes,
Wow.
and it's always different. But it's always Motorcycle from the first note that you hear from the new record, and that's really for me personally, that's really exciting. For other people, like the confidence or the security of Motorhead, for example. That's always the same. It's always safe, and there's an audience for that as well. But yeah, I think it's really important that you are the audience as well, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that motorcycle? Is there an umlaut over the Y?
It's a motorcycle. Psycho. It's no, it's not.
motorcycle.
It's not motorcycle. It's a motorcycle.
Motorcycle.
Yeah.
PSYCO.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So there's 3 O's to put umlauts over.
Wow. Yeah.
Extra umlauts.
Motorcycle.
That's Braille at that point, isn't it? I think.
That reminds me of a T-shirt I just saw. That's it's for the ultimate snob T-shirt. It says, "I like their earlier stuff better."
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah. I saw that too. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
That's great.
Or I like the original one.
Or yeah.
better.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's we need to give a quick shout to one of our show's fantastic sponsors.
Yes.
And it just so happens I'm in the midst right now of on the last episode I mentioned I got this new Fender pedal board.
Yep.
And I spent last night kind of like going, okay. And I was looking at the blank one. I'm like, I should go get some water. And I kept up the stairs. And then I was like, oh, I should open this bag of Sweetwater candy. And then I was like, there's something daunting about tearing into a whole new board and all the Velcro and all this stuff. And I was excited about it. But I was also a little bit daunted by it. One of the reasons is because I wasn't sure if I had all the right cabling.
Todd.
Now, for the most part, the saving grace.
Do you
of
mean the
this-
patch cables?
The patch cables. That's exactly
yeah.
right. And I have all Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
Smart move.
And I have them in a whole bunch of different lengths. My problem is that I don't have as many in some of the odder lengths that I think I was going to need for this. Because I'm doing some more interest. I'm not just going pedal to pedal to pedal to pedal. It's like I have sort of a central brain in the JHS switchback.
Mm-hmm.
So it's turning into this sort of, it almost looks like a magnetic bloom.
A bloom.
Of patch cables there. So I got almost all of it done. It is working, but I realized I have some stress points where it's not good to have the cable stressed out this much. Like, so I have to order some new ones.
I know where to go.
Do you?
Yes.
Where?
TourGearDesigns.com.
Oh, perfect.
You can buy,
Of course.
oh my goodness, virtually any
all the lengths I need.
lengths that you need,
Yes.
including that just a little bit longer so
Just
it
a little
doesn't
bit
stress
longer.
the cable out.
Or in an S shape instead of a C shape.
But you know what's better?
What?
These cables are flat,
Yes.
like a crepe, if you
Yes.
will. Flat.
Yes.
And the plugs are just teeny tiny. They're basically the size of the actual jack that's on your pedals.
It's fantastic.
So you got space saving, you got flat cables.
Yeah.
Oh, did I mention that they're relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, they are incredibly inexpensive. And here's another thing about that Fender pedal board has got two jacks at the top,
Yeah.
where or two holes for input and output jacks, so you can put the auxiliary style, like the solderless ones in there. Now, if you're doing that, you're going to need a cable that runs underneath that's long enough to get to your lead and your exiting pedal.
Yep.
And that's one of the great things about the Tour Designs patch cable.
How about Tour Gear Designs?
What did I say?
You said Tour Designs.
I did?
Yes,
I was
you
just
did.
so excited. Sorry
I know you
about
were.
that.
But Todd.
Yes, I do very well.
Fill up that shopping cart.
I will.
TourGearDesigns.com. Fill it up. You'll see.
And do they also ship to Europe or?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It's a Canadian.
I need a lot of patch cables.
I mean, legitimately, everybody on our show uses them, and anybody that I've played with has said, "What's that?" And I told them, and they get it. You just get it. You pick it up, and you're like, "This is so smart."
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's one thing more, because at your checkout,
Yeah.
there's a little box that says coupon code. If you type in the guitar knobs,
That makes sense.
all one word, all lowercase, you're going to save an extra 10%.
Indeed.
And these are already reasonably priced cables. You're going to love them.
Reasonably priced.
Load up the cart.
I
all the
challenge
different
you
sizes.
to find something more reasonable in life.
I'm worried it would take a long time to ship.
It does not.
It takes zero. Well, not zero time, but
It's super
relatively
Yes.
quick. They ship out of Canada.
Yes.
Here to the States, I think it was 2 or 3 days later I got mine. Maybe to Europe it might take a week. Maybe not.
Who knows?
I'm sure they've got some distributorship set up over there. Maybe I don't know.
Okay.
They just follow the Gulf Stream. Anyways, thank you so much to Tour Gear Designs for sponsoring our show, and specifically our 4 on the Floor, which we're going to forego right now because we have so much to talk to with Dr. No. That being said, Doctor,
Yes.
you have been very busy, especially as of late.
Yes.
Get us hip to what you've been up to. What's your big release that you just been working on?
The last the 4 years actually. 4 years I worked on a. I wanted to do something with an idea that I had with magic and occult and stuff that I liked at the moment. It's always a time that a time frame that I'm interested in some subjects, and I want to implement that in what I do. And I was working on a project called Sorcière.
Right.
It means wizard or witch in French. And it was exactly at the time of the transition that I made from the Netherlands to France. And the environment inspired me. There's a lot of history here where I live that also connected with the mindset that I had. And it basically were 3 pedals that came out. One was a fuzz called the Necrofuzzicon that was made in a book. The other one was...
and that relates to the
Necronomicon.
Yeah,
Yes. The Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
But it was... at the same time, Alan asked me to work with a guy from the UK who was building a bass for him, and he wanted to have some sort of a booster in it, not really a treble booster, but a simple booster inside the bass. So I developed that for him and for the guitar builder, and but. He also wanted to have it in a pedal, so it was basically it gets more out of your instrument when you think you know your instrument, your amps, your guitar. When you put in the gin, it is called. Then it gets more out of the elements, more out of the guitar, more out of the amp that you didn't recognize before. And that was the second part was the gin, and the other part was the D-book. It was based on a Jewish myth of basically also a genie, and that became a very difficult project for me personally. It was a light bulb based univibe that I always wanted to build one time. It's not really exciting because there are a lot of univibes out there, but I want to build my own. And so yeah, I made 3 pedals, and that came out as a series, like collect them all kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And after that, I immediately started with the Kukulkan. It's called. It's the Wawa Fuzz Boost device that I'm creating with the violin players. That's also for guitar, but mainly the inspiration is coming from the violin players. And
Can I ask you a quick question about the saucier?
Yeah.
Which is not the person who makes the sauce in the restaurant. Just I know I'm butchering the stuff. It's saucier. Yeah?
Sorcière, yeah.
Saucier.
Sorcière, yeah, sorcery. Think
Yeah.
of sorcery, yeah.
So aside, was there some other influence? Because I know one of the things that we've talked about in the past, and just even as we've talked to each other on the phone and stuff,
Yeah.
we are very keen to the things that are impacting our mind and our environment.
I know you want to go. I know where you want to go. Yeah, that's true. I think everyone was inflicted by what happened in 2020. So the music industry stopped. We couldn't play anymore. There was this. We couldn't see what was going on with the pandemic, and it had a really big impact on me, but also a lot of impact on my friends who are professional musicians.
Yeah.
And we spoke about that, and some people were getting really. They didn't really. It basically demolished their bubble of being a musician, and like every musician, I think, or every creative artist creates this bubble, and that kind of made it break that bubble. And it was a really weird time. So it was. It's not really nice to talk about, but it was a really dark time for a lot of musicians, and for me as well, because I personally I did very well, because business wise, but it's not about business in my case, but business wise, a lot of people at that time bought pedals because they wanted to experiment inside so business wise it was really profitable, but it wasn't really that wasn't really what I was hoping for.
Sure.
I would trade that for anything, if that didn't happen. But yeah, so that also brought me in a not really positive state of where is this going, and nothing was clear, and I would like to see some end stage. Okay, this is where we're going. This is what's going to happen, and then it's over. And that wasn't the case, and that influenced a lot of musicians. That also. Personally, I know some people who ended their life in that stage. That was really dark.
Yeah.
Because there was no future in sight. So, and that also influenced me to okay. It's always for me. It's always what I'm going to do with this feeling. I have to express this. I have to give it a place. So that's always what I do. If it's something about this really fun or colorful, or even this event which wasn't really colorful. So I had to put this thing in a box, literally speaking, and I used the negative, dark period into making something cool, and that was the starting point of all. But it was 4 years ago. I even started before there was even a pandemic in sight. So, but it really skyrocketed it when it happened. So it was really everyone. I think I can't speak for everyone, but for me, it really put me in a closed environment. So what I'm going to do now, and that came out. So for me, it's a really positive outcome, and a creative, and also a different approach of a creative process. So yeah, that's also a part of
It seemed to be maybe one of your more. I mean, you've done some pedals that have gone farther than others as far as the creative output, right? So like you
Yeah.
came, when we were talking about Moon Canyon, it was like, there was a lot that went into that before you even put, the circuits together. So this seems to be even like the Troy Van Leeuwen or the Alan Johannes or anything like that.
Yeah.
This one went way farther than that.
Yes, it's two different things, because what you mentioned with Sarah Lipstate, or with the Moon Canyon, or the DVL series with Troy, or the Dave Catching pedal with the Roadrunner, I emphasize in the subject, in my muse, if you would like to call it. So it's an external thing, but now I had to turn to myself because I didn't have a muse, and it basically the situation brought me to. Basically, the situation brought me to okay, what do I want to say, and not translating the subject. So basically, what I also like to do is translating the subject's mind, DNA, if you like to call that, or musical DNA is better, I think. And what's how can I translate a musician with a certain style and a certain character into a object that connects concept wise with the person, visual and technical. So it's three things, but now I have to count on myself, because I also would like to do work when I want to create something for myself. It's never an audience that I create for. I always create for myself. What would I like to say about a subject or a muse, or what would I like to say about the time frame that I'm living in, regarding the things that interested me at that time. So that's always the translation part of my work. That's my expression. If I can also make a painting, if I could paint, but I make guitar pedals, and that's my way of expressing. Also, it's not like I create for, okay, what does the audience need? What is popular, or I never look at that kind of things. I always look, okay, what's going on in my world? What would I like to hear? What would I like to see?
Right.
Which bridges would I like to create?
Were there any books or movies that were especially influential in that time period? Not necessarily having directly direct correlation to the pedals, but that was also a time when everybody, as you were just simply saying, is like we all turned inwards.
Yeah. To be honest, I never get my inspiration out of a certain book, a certain movie, or a certain information source. It's always like when you look at sorcière, it's not like one thing. It's a combination of, if you look at the D book, it's like different religions, different myths mixed together. It doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense to me. And it's not like the Necrophysicon relates to the Necronomicon, but it's also different in a way. I don't want to relate to the Book of Death. I don't want that. It's not really my thing. But I gather information. I gather inspiration not from. I'm not searching for information. It always comes on my way, because that's my focus point of attention. So I only gather information that makes sense on the project that I'm working on. It's like a very focused situation when I'm creating. It's nothing else matters, you know. I don't watch movies. Yeah, I can watch a movie just to put my mind at ease, for example. But my mind is always on when I wake up and I start creating.
Yeah.
And it's always focused on the subject that I'm interested in, and that at that time. So, and that was a really I was at that time I was focused on occult, and occult only means hidden knowledge, or hidden basically hidden knowledge is translation in Latin. And I was really interested in that, and how do I translate that, and how do I use that in a creative way to make something beautiful and nice and inspirational and cool, and what would I like to see, what would I enjoy, and that's basically always how I work. And also, regarding the new project, the Kukul condensate it's called. It's a ancient god of creation, and the bringer of rain and wind.
Okay.
And it totally relates to the muses that I have. I always call them. It's
Sure.
not. It's Warren Ellis is for me is a really. I just watched the concert of Nick Cave, and I was only when you go to a Nick Cave concert, you're always focused on on Nick Cave because he's really present in his energy. But the other guy, Warren Ellis, I was focused on. He was at that time he just touched me, and I was like, this is really cool. What is he doing? And I just keep focusing on the subject. It almost becomes an obsession. And within that obsession, you gather information. You look up information. You look videos. You look up interviews. You just want to get involved with the subject without he knowing you. So it's from a distance. And if you gather information, you always form. I always form a certain vision of someone. I create a vision of someone. It's not necessarily what he has to say, or try to explain how his character works, because that's impossible. I just focus on what kind of. I just create my own image of the person, of the subject that I have, and from that information, I create a concept. From that information, I always have a clear vision in my head. I don't touch a solder iron, or touch a blank sheet of paper to write on or to draw on. It's just existing in my head, and that evolves until the moment that, okay, now it's ready. Now it's time to contact Warren Ellis.
Yeah.
So and then you also have a clear concept to explain, because if I involve the artist in my in my starting process, they probably will hang up the phone because of the chaotic
Right.
process.
Or try to influence it too much, maybe.
Yeah, maybe no. It's not really possible to influence me personally. It's really when I work with other musicians, they don't really know the technical aspect of how things work. They only can portray a vision or a sound or a. So they can't change my mind.
Gotcha.
So at the end of when everything is clear in my head, I have a clear vision of how everything works, the concept, the story, the visuals, and the inside technical part. That's what it will do for them specifically. Then I contact the artist. Hey, this is my idea. I would like to work with you on that because I have to portray you, so you have to stand before my canvas, and I have to paint you. So if you are interested, we can work together with them. Sometimes it's a no, sometimes it's a yes, and to be honest, in the beginning, it's very, very. How do you say it? They are very careful because they don't know me.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing of people that are, how do you say it, famous or have a public arena.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people know them, but they don't know anyone. Only their inside people.
Yeah.
And that also generates a certain hesitant way of approaching or reacting. So what's this weird guy called Dr. No?
Right.
What's the story? Because and sometimes people know you because it's almost always the music world is a very small world, so everybody knows each other. So they know that you work with a friend of them, or they've seen you work, or they know your reputation, or whatever. So there's always a small connection, but then I have to explain them why. Why do you want to work with me? And sometimes it's what's in it for me, and
Sure.
that's some musicians are also approach their artistship with a business, so that's also a factor that can be a disturbance on the project, because that's not my intention. It's not my intention to create business. It's my intention to create something beautiful. And so that's how I go. So different approaches. Sometimes I want to create myself. Sometimes I want to create with a inspiration source. Yeah.
Now, aside from the things that you are digging deep and bringing up from the well as new, I know that you just had a major re-release.
Yeah. That's true. Yes, the thing is, I want to do everything myself. I want to make and build everything myself. I don't want to outsource anything or farm out anything. I just want to do everything myself by my two hands with my own self.
Yeah. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not spent some time looking around at Dr. No's Instagram, one thing that I really love that you do is show so much of the actual creative process, especially when you were doing the Moon Canyon. I mean, everybody was following. That was like a Netflix series you were creating on Instagram. It was fantastic.
That's really weird to hear because I never know what the reaction is to what I express regarding the process. It's just I use Instagram as my own sketchbook.
Yeah.
So how does this work out? What is when I float above it? How does it look like? Where is this going? So the audience is basically a bonus, and that people like it is I really appreciate. And I had a feeling that there was something going on with the Moon Canyon because I literally posted everything, every tiny change, every tiny element I posted on Instagram. But it was basically because it was really complex and I want to put everything together and have an oversight.
Yeah.
And but it generated more attention, and I stopped doing that basically because it's also for me personally, it's also how do you say it? It's almost like an intimate process.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, and it's for myself.
Uh-huh.
And
but the way that you did that was different than what a lot of people come on and they say, hey everybody, there's this Instagram has created also a odd familiarity factor, where you get on and you talk as though, hey everybody, you're sitting here right with me and I'm going to build this thing and this is the little thing I did. And to a certain point that can actually create it's something that feels almost pedestrian or overly casual about whatever your efforts are. It's something to be mindful of. And I think one of the neat things about when you were doing the Moon Canyon is that we were watching what
process.
you were deciding to show us. It wasn't that
Well,
we were sitting there with you.
what was interesting about that for you personally, as a creative person?
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, I found the interesting part that you were not necessarily showing. It wasn't like watching something being made or decisions being made. The decisions had already happened, but we were seeing glimpses of this thing coming together. So, when you're showing like all these little tiny moons and the molds and like, then, you had you dip in and out of story and production, and it was just fascinating. And like, it's like whatever this is going to be, it's going to be something big because you've clearly said this is worthy of good storytelling.
Yeah. So it basically creates a value.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. Yeah. It's weird because when I'm really sensitive regarding to what's going on, it influences me in the world. For example, and Instagram is the only place that regarding social media that I'm on and use.
Yeah.
So if you don't pay attention that's the reason why I don't follow anyone, because you get these feeds and you're distracted all the time. And if I want to know, hey, what's going on with Guitar Knobs, I just go to your page and just see what's going on.
Yeah.
Because that's the moment that I feel interested in looking at your page, and from there I can decide what to do. But if you get feeds all the time, and especially if regarding the parameters that Instagram uses, because you're interested in guitar pedals or musical instruments,
right,
you'll always get distracted. And I'm really, really, really sensitive about distraction. What I also developed regarding Instagram is kind of a love-hate relationship, because it distracts me a lot. It generates expectations, because Instagram is basically creating forcing you to create the best picture that you have, and that's not the reality.
right.
It's always a difficult process. It's always bad decisions that you make, but you also post that because it's not perfect. That's part of the process. It's really important to make mistakes all the time,
Yeah.
because then you come up with something good. And what I like to do is especially display the mistakes for myself, so I can, okay, that's what I did wrong. I have to move on. I have to move to the next step.
Right.
And what the environment of Instagram generates is generating this world of perfection.
Yeah.
And that's really distracts me from it influences me. So
Yeah.
So what I stopped doing is, what I do isn't perfect, so maybe this isn't the right medium to put imperfection on, or processes which are sometimes really ugly. And but it's only in my world, and it's really interesting because you are the first one to tell me that process was really exciting to watch. I never get that kind of feedback. So, and I'm not sure if I want that feedback. I really appreciate that you, especially as a creative person, see it in this way, and which is really understandable for me. So I'm always on the edge of, am I going to display this, or because my whole work exists from things that are in my head, probably don't exist in reality, so I have to create them because I need them for a certain project that I'm working on. For example, the horns from Dudzik, or the wings of the Roadrunner, or certain knobs that are in my head. It's not like inspired by actual existing objects. It's just a fantasy that I have to realize in physical matter. So I have to create that, and those processes are my main job.
Yeah.
That takes the most of the time, and the technical part also. But that's really boring to show resistors and capacitors. Really boring. But it's the story and the concept about the new project that I'm working on, or a project that I'm working on, is really ugly to display. That's my vision of it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though, because I think I even brought this up again at my. I was telling my team at work that I was going to be talking with you again because we did a whole actual thing on the pedals that you sent over last time.
Yeah, you told me.
And I was showing them because it's very easy if you are doing anything creative many times over to start to maybe take shortcuts or not put as much intensity into some of the decisions, or to push yourself to find more detail in the thing that you're creating. And I showed them the you were flocking, I think it was like a nut or something like that.
Yeah.
And he said the devil's in the details. I was like, damn, that's awesome. It's not you didn't say here's this big perfect beautiful thing. You're like, this is the little thing, and it's just as important as the big thing.
Yeah. There are so many small details. For example, just flocking a knob can take half an hour. It's weird, but it's really, really important for me, and it's almost like a bittersweet curse that I always. For my system, it has to be perfect. Otherwise, I'm not satisfied, and I can't sleep. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And if I want to send out some of my creations to somebody who spends his hard-earned dough on it, it has to be absolutely perfect. Otherwise, I'm not satisfied, and probably the customer or the musician that purchased that item doesn't recognize or doesn't even notice that it isn't really perfect. But that doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
And I think the most important thing of being successfully for yourself is to get the best out of you, the best possible, and that's what I'm always trying to do in every detail. For example, for the 10 knobs that I flock for the Holy Guacamole, 5 are not good enough, and then I throw them away because and I can easily use them because nobody noticed, but I noticed that small thing that isn't perfect, and that's the thing I also really enjoy. So that's why I say it's a bittersweet curse. So yeah,
that's good words to especially for our audience, who are many of which who are creative in some way. I mean, look, if you're at all using any kind of gear, you're using it to and you are being creative in some way. So I really appreciate that sentiment.
Yeah, I would really like to promote that as well. I would like to promote. I often get people who say, "Hey, did you see this pedal? It's a copy of yours," or somebody's trying to copy that element or copy. For example, last week somebody showed me a picture of the Skullfuzz. Another guy in US makes Skullfuzzes. I don't care. What I do care is that he doesn't take the time to get something really creative from himself, that he doesn't try. That's really bothering me. I don't care if somebody copies my stuff. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I really would like, if you do something, then try better, man, because you can get so much joy of your own creative process, and not. Yeah, that's bothering me more even than somebody copying something.
I agree. I think that goes to music too.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can feel that once you start playing a couple songs. Like when you play something that you've created, you're like, this is different. This feels like I actually really kind of birthed this thing, and I didn't just pick the low-hanging fruit and said, people will like this. It is exciting every single time you hear it. it never stops being exciting.
Exactly. And you create what you like to see and what you like to hear.
Right.
You have to love what you create. It's not a narcissistic thing. It's just you have to love what you create, and that's really important.
Yeah.
You have to want to use it, and you have to. Sorry, my French.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on French and English
Bless
at
you.
the same time, learning. so I'm often confused with words now. So sorry. It's really important that what you make, you enjoy yourself as well.
Yeah. I understand.
As the first person, and yeah. So I really that's also what I'm trying to do at the schools. Try to figure out what you like without the influences of other things or society or the social desirable behavior regarding this is what you have to do with your life or this is how you have to behave in work. Just figure it out yourself. There's room for that. There's freedom for that. And the only thing is to find the right exit and the right motivation and hopefully the right motivators to light that fire. And that's what I enjoy.
I love it.
Yeah.
I know something that Tony loves.
What's that?
Tony loves riding in the El Camino.
Yeah, me too.
All
but
right.
I don't have one. Oh, wow. Do you
Yeah,
have an El
we're
Camino?
gonna-
Well, they're called Le Camino in French.
Yeah.
Le Camino.
El Camino.
Le Picnic.
Actually, it would be called Le Rue.
Le Rue,
Yeah,
oui.
the Camino is the road. So the road.
Yes.
Le Rue.
Yes.
Le Rue.
Oh, wow. I really miss my car. I had a really old Chevrolet a G20.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was really my favorite car. I really enjoyed riding that, but it was really impractical here because it's here in France. It's all Renault and Peugeot.
Yeah.
And if you bring an American car to a garage, they are like closing the doors.
Yeah. Yeah. If
No,
you
we
can
don't
get
do
it in
that.
the door.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do a little Would You Rather? All right. How about that, huh? Tony?
Well, that's right, Todd. And I'll do my best in Jared's absence,
I
but
appreciate that.
I will do a wonderful Would You Rather.
A wonderful, yes, a very wonderful.
It's very,
As he would say.
very wonderful.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
Okay.
so excited.
this one is in honor of the 50th anniversary of the release of Dark Side of the Moon.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh. So you're walking down the
Is
street.
this based on our little thing that we did on the? I think it was the last one that we the outtakes. Where have you been? No, okay, that was great.
No, Welcome to the Machine was
Yeah.
not from Dark Side
Yeah,
of the
I know.
Moon.
I know, but
No, you didn't.
I did.
No, you did not.
Oh, jeez.
Anyhow, you're walking down the street and you run into the Pink Floyd genie.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
You didn't know there was such a thing.
No. It's usually the pink elephant, but
Well,
In the room.
yes. And he gives you two choices. He's a generous genie.
Yes.
He's from the band of Pink Floyd,
yes, he went to Oxford as well.
most likely. So your first option is he's going to provide you with, and you get to keep this,
Okay,
the Keeley Dark Side pedal, which captures
we have that.
many of David Gilmour's sounds,
Yes.
and a Fender Custom Shop David Gilmour Strat. You get to keep those forever. They're yours,
Cool.
especially you, Todd. Or, now this is the big one.
Yeah. Get me to the or.
And the or is you get to spend 1 hour with David Gilmour, and he shows you all the settings, but you have to provide all of the pedals, and that would be very expensive and difficult to find things like the Dallas Arbiter Fuzzface,
Yes.
the Univox Univibe,
Yes.
the Benson Echo Rec 2.
Yes.
Good luck with that.
Yes.
And the Maestro Rover Leslie speaker.
Okay.
Now, you're going to spend some dough getting this stuff, but you get to spend an hour with Mr. Gilmore himself. Is he a sir? Sir David Gilmore?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay, we'll call him
Pretty
Sir.
sure.
Sir David
he's a
Gilmore.
sir.
So you get a pretty nice, the pedal, the Keeley pedal. Oh my goodness!
It's a great pedal.
I mean, it
it's
does
got- that does
You got
everything.
you got your chorus modulation, delay, and echo, and distortion, and overdrive, and fuzz. You got it all,
Yeah.
and a custom shop Gilmore Strat.
Yeah.
Or you spend an hour with David himself, but you got to spend the dough to get the gear.
Yeah. Oof. That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one for sure. Tony will start off with John,
Okay,
and then we'll work our way around over to
anti-clockwise.
Dr. No. Yes. Okay, John.
So I am not a huge Pink Floyd fan. So
Okay.
to me,
Why do you hate them so much?
Well,
Kurt Cobain
Because he
liked
likes
them.
Nirvana.
to me,
Yeah.
to me, the
I know
the
it's just a rip-off
experience
band,
of
but you know.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
so if you're through.
Yeah, go ahead.
The experience with Gilmore is probably not as attractive to me as it would be to other folks.
Yeah.
So, and I'm also not afraid of looking and sounding cool, so I'm okay with a Stratocaster.
Yeah. Okay.
So I will choose the former, the dark side pedal and the custom shop Stratocaster for $0.
Okay. All right.
All
Dig
right.
that.
That's nice.
Tony?
You get to keep it forever.
And I get to keep it forever.
Yes.
As much as I'd like, and the Keeley pedal is a great pedal, and the custom shop Strat is a great Strat. I think having the opportunity to pick David Gilmour's brain for a little bit, even if you got to go out and spend $10,000-$15,000 worth of gear, I guess in today's market.
Yeah.
I would love to know where you're going to find all that gear. For
Well, the Echo Rec especially. That's,
The assumption is that you will.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes. The genie has a tip for the secret
Yes.
market. It's called reverb.
Yes.
So I think having that opportunity to spend an hour with Gilmore, I think would be really cool. And just to, even if he didn't show me all the settings,
Yeah.
I think it would,
I think that'd be great.
that's a chance in a lifetime opportunity.
Dr. No?
Was there a genie involved, or did I
Yes.
misunderstood?
The
Yes?
genie is going to grant you the ability to get
yeah,
all these
yeah,
things
I would-
and put you in contact with
yeah.
the great one.
Yes. I would take the genie's cape and his purple hat, I guess. I'm not really a big fan of Pink Floyd either.
Fair
I'm more
play.
of a cape guy.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
I get.
The,
On a
cape,
purple
the
hat,
cape and
yeah.
the turban, you can't beat that.
Yes. I would love those. Yeah.
I can.
You, Todd.
I get it. I'm gonna forego the Strat, obviously, and I'm going to. I would just like to hang out with him for the time. I'm gonna say, you know what, David, you've been talking about gear all your life, but I'll just leave the gear in the corner. That was my entry fee. Let's go down and let's go hang out somewhere and just talk about life. I would love to hear the wisdoms of someone like that he's seen over his lifetime. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
anyways, that's what I'm doing.
You're bending the rules.
I'm
So I guess-
bending them, not breaking them, bending them.
So I'm on John Island.
Yeah.
You're on John Island.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm on Tony Island, so
Yeah,
Oh no, you Todd's with me.
yeah.
I'm not sharing my hour with you.
Yeah. Well, you greased the wheels for me because you've already talked to ad nauseum to where he doesn't want to talk about gear anymore.
That's probably
Yes.
true.
Yeah. So, anyways, we need to thank a few people.
Oh, yes,
and then
we
we're
do,
gonna
Todd.
let the good doctor go.
Yes, The Good Doctor on ABC. That's right, Todd, because at this point of the show, there's a special group of people we love to thank. These are our executive producers. Now, you might be wondering, what's this executive producer? Let me tell you, an executive producer makes this show possible.
It's true.
How do I become one? Go over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs.
If you like the show, you really shouldn't be thanking us. You should be thanking the people that are supporting our show.
Yes, absolutely. We've got some great ones. So go over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate, become a sponsor, a patron of this very podcast. Each level comes with some great thank you gifts. But there's one thing more as an executive producer. John Esterly.
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers: Moon Guitars, Vader and Pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D, Richard Kendall, Mark Garton, Matt Hart, James White, Justin Jones, Anthony Gemalero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly to my immediate left, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Tom Barazin, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk, Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, Andrew Dahan, James Bell, James Romer, and Cameron Pampas.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, but Todd, there's more
Yes.
because we have a special group of executive producers, our grand poobahs.
Yes,
as we call
I
them.
did want to mention John Halverson. We had a great time hanging out with him at the
NAMM show.
At the NAMM show, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And you get a fez, right? When you
as a grand poobah, thank you for reminding me of that, Doctor. As a grand poobah, you get all the great stuff. There's a really nice prize package, and you get a fez to wear upon your head. The fez is worth the price of admission alone. But,
Yes.
So special thanks to these grand poobahs: Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Iguereda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wow Pickups, Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, Tyler Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound, Brian Robison, Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Tim Nowak, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S. David Poe, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Congregation Gear Demos, Paul Van Eppinger, Scott Sullivan, and Great Lake Guitar Pickups.
Yes.
Thank you.
The great Rip Van Spitfire. Anyway, so we have thank you to all those who are helping us out. And if you are a first-time listener, if you're early into our episodes, we encourage your support. There's no other way to say
do
that.
it.
Yeah.
Every bit helps.
Because you're supporting our show, but you're also giving a platform for the builders and movers and shakers that you want to hear from, that you are supporting, that you are purchasing their wares, etc. This is helping them. At least I think it is. Anyways.
Oh, I think it is.
So, Dr. No, where can people go to check out the things that you are making?
It's on my website, and I'm not really active on Instagram anymore. I just post some things, but after our conversation today, maybe I try to put on some processes again. And that's about it, actually.
Awesome. Well, I know that it has worked because I got several people pinging me that they have just started receiving their holy guacamoles.
Cool. They just went out.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a really big project. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I believe that are you reworking the flyer right now?
Reworking the flyer? What do you mean?
From
the Roadrunner, you mean?
Yeah, it's the Roadrunner. Yes.
No, it's basically the the thing that's going on. I'm on my own, right? So, and I've gathered a collection of my own work. I think it's around 30 right now. So it's really difficult to keep up with everything, keeping everything in stock. So when I have time, I do some old things that I do because many people are still requesting them, and I just put them out. And one of the most requested pedals that I made was the Holy Guacamole, but I didn't feel like just doing the same thing again. And it's 10 years old now, so it's 10th anniversary. So I thought just do something special with it and just make a couple of them.
Love it.
That's what I did, and those went out.
It's the best sounding wah that I've ever used. I can say that without question, and not because you're on the show. Legitimately.
That's really nice to hear. That was my goal. So happy that you like it. Yeah, I was thinking about just put not advertising with it, but I was thinking about just put an extra switch on it, a secret switch that also generates extra fuzz tone or something. But I didn't do that because maybe I'll do it with another thing. But
maybe for the 20th anniversary.
No, now I'm going to stop making them because now it's over.
Yes.
I want to do new stuff.
Well, it keeps it special too. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Tanisha.
Yes.
Where can people find your works?
Go over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the wares I have available. But by and large, what I do is custom work. So shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do. And I will make your dreams come true in the form of a pickguard.
Yes, indeed. John?
So you can find me at www.rarebuzzer, that's rarebuzz with an ER.com, at rarebuzzer on all the social media platforms. And you can find me live and in person at Pedals and Pints, Wednesday, May the 24th, Combustion Brewing.
Cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
I'm going to start out with be on the lookout for the Valentino's releases on Spotify featuring the Colossus pedal. We use that specifically on one release that I think hopefully we don't have legal trouble with, but if we do, that's kind of cool too.
Why do you get legal trouble with that?
Well, we covered a song from a very, 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 very big band, but I think we did it better. I'm just saying.
Okay, cool. A big and powerful band.
A big rolling band.
Anyway, gathers
still
no
existing?
moss.
Yes.
Yes. Now I'm curious.
Anyways, and the intro to it is like, it just sounds, it's the Colossus. It's just like a spotlight on it. It's really cool.
Cool.
And you can shoot me an email about guitar knob stuff. You can shoot me an email at todd@theguitarknobs.com. You can also DM me on Instagram at guitarknobs. And also, please check out Flint Effects, where we have the Stomper available for your HX Stomp. We just sent some out to Australia. It was really cool. We're sending Johnny is going to start having them in his shop in Oakland. Really excited about that. It protect your like $600 plus pedal for Pete's sakes. Okay,
do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Flint Effects. Get the Stomper for your stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an honor and great fun to have the great Dr. No on our show. Thank you, Doctor.
No, thank you.
And everyone else, have a fantastic guitar weekend. Subscribe!
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
Could I have a water, please?
Yeah.
Darf ich eine Trinke
I
Wasser
don't know
haben?
what's going on with the dear doctor.
Darf ich eine Trinke Wasser haben?
Oh, could I have one too if you're buying?
Zwei, bitte.
Oh, fucking hell! This French network goes by horse and carriage. It's awful.
Here, should I use this finger?
At least I have some cheese and some wine, so I hope for the best.
Dude, that grows on trees out there in France, doesn't it?
Yes, I know, and on cows.
Anyways, all right, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and I'll talk to you in the near future. Okay, buddy?
Yes, I hope so. Hey, thank you. I love your show, man.
Thanks so much.
Bonsoir.
Yes.
Bye.
See you later. Bonsoir.
And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.